Welcome back to Digi Bros.
Welcome back.
We just made it to Skytopia.
This time on
Skypea.
Digi Bros, lots of freaky face birds.
One day, I'll read
This
enough
is their
One
homeland.
Piece to finally get to the Skypea arc.
Yay, so you can Skype everyone in Sepia, I guess. Skypea.
Thank you.
Yay. We're
you're
here.
doing good.
We're
Hey,
at the
didn't
temple.
you just read a bunch of Boku no Hero Academia?
Yeah, I
How's
read
that going?
8 chapters or so. That's great. I thought it was cool.
It's the new, one of the newer Shonen Jump manga.
Yes,
to get
it's
some
very
attention.
fun. You're just like, heroes.
I would expect it to get an anime adaptation within a year or two.
I would hope so. It would definitely look, but it would have to be like, I feel like if the same team that did like Soul Eater did it, it would be good.
That's Bones.
Yeah. I mean, like, not just Bones, like
The
the
Soul
exact
Eater team.
people who did Soul Eater. Like
Um,
that team. Because it's very stylish in a way that could easily be just shat on.
Yeah, hopefully it's not Toei, who are garbage.
Oh, shit.
You know, it's pretty funny. It's been fun to watch, like, new, like old fan bases newly realize how shit Toei is.
Uh-huh.
Because, I guess they've gotten worse, really, over time. But, like, because Sailor Moon Crystal came out last year. And
God, that was so fucking balls.
it was... Sailor
I watched like 1 or 2 episodes and I was like, this is fucking awful.
Yeah, they... Like, aside from the fact that I hated the new art style anyway...
Yes, it looks stupid.
The show was, like, just badly animated, and it was they were only releasing one episode every 2 weeks. I think it's still going.
It's retarded.
But they're only
Yeah.
releasing one episode every 2 weeks, and even then, the animation looks like shit a lot of the time.
It's like only released
and
online
so,
and shit.
Sailor Moon fans were like, what the fuck?
I'm
Why
just
is
like,
this...
why?
Right.
Why? Why would you do the original's perfectly fucking fine. You're not doing anything better. Why the
Right.
fuck would you do this?
Well, the idea is that they're going to follow the manga more closely. 'cause
Yeah, but what's the point if you make a
original's,
worse
like,
show?
The original's like 300 episodes long of mostly filler, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas the manga was different. But yeah, it lost all the charm of the original, and it's just badly animated, and it's a shitty, you know, nostalgia cash grab type thing. And so people were like, what the fuck? So, like, you watch Sailor Moon fans being all like, wow, this is garbage. And then, like, people who know Toei were like, well, yeah, it's Toei. Like, they're known for doing, like, shitty, you know, they do, like, One Piece and stuff. Like, their quality of animation is not very high, you know, for at least for their, like, shonen adaptations. They did World Trigger, which looks like shit.
Yeah.
And then now they're doing Dragon Ball Super. And there's, like, this big fight between Goku and Beerus. Have you seen the screen caps from it?
Yes, I've seen some awful shit from that.
Yeah. And people
From
are
like
all
the
like...
first episode and shit. It's like, you can't even nail the first episode.
That was the first episode.
That's it.
It was like episode 6 or so. But, like, it's a major fight. Like,
Yeah.
so that's, like, the part that should look good. And it looks like garbage. So, like, people were like, what the fuck? Why does it look so bad? Shouldn't this be, like, their big show? And I'm like, dude, it's Toei. Like...
It doesn't make sense. It seems like they should have a lot of money from the shows they do.
It's because it's
Like,
all
what-
outsourced.
why?
They
I
send it
see.
all to, like, because Toei is all over Asia. Like, there's a Toei in the
Yeah.
Philippines, there's Toei in, like, all over the place. And there's not, like, a strong central team to it. You know, it's like
They just don't give a shit. It's
Right.
just like a corporate
Well, because they make
company.
fucking long-ass goddamn
Yeah.
shonen shows that are designed to go on for an eternity. They're not really concerned about, like, high-quality production. You
at
know?
all.
There's not a lot of QC going on.
Supposed to-
Compared to
probably
something
great.
like Madhouse or Mappa, where it's like the quality control
Yeah.
is, you know, unreal, even for long form shows, because they care about them.
Hey, I got the Oku. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious about, like, what happened to Piero. Studio Piero did Yu Yu Hakusho, and the first 66 episodes of that show mostly look amazing. After that, it kind of gets, like, a little more wishy-washy, but it never looks, like, terrible. You're never just like, wow, Yu Yu
Yeah.
Hakusho looked like garbage this episode. Like, it'll look pretty iffy sometimes, especially in the
Yeah.
later episodes. But this is the same studio who later went on to do, like, Bleach and Naruto.
Yeah.
And those look iffy all the time. Like, they had so many filler episodes, so much, like, just... Ugh. And it's like this... the same guy who directed Yu Yu Hakusho directed Bleach, so it's not like this is some completely different team. Like the same dude did it, and I'm just like, is it just a budget thing? Is it just that they had to make too many episodes? You know, like why didn't Bleach look like Yu Yu Hakusho?
Because it's a super popular show. You know, it's got to be making its money back. You know,
Yu Yu Hakusho was insanely popular.
Exactly.
People tried to work. You know, they put the effort into it. Like. But like with Naruto, like Naruto has a lot of shitty looking stuff, but at least Naruto, like Yu Yu Hakusho, has tons of really big animation moments.
Yeah.
Like they brought in every animator on planet fucking Earth to work on Naruto at some point. So like, yeah, a lot of it looks like shit, but then a lot of it also looks unbelievably awesome.
Yeah.
Why didn't Bleach get that? I don't.
Does it not have that? I thought it did.
It has like 2 scenes that are like super good looking that I know of anyway. I mean, I could be wrong. I've seen countless scenes from Naruto that look amazing. You know, like I said, every fucking noteworthy animator got their time on Naruto doing some cut somewhere. You know, but like,
oh shit,
I've only seen like a couple noteworthy
from
cuts
Metroid Prime.
Basically, the only one I really know of is the fight with Ucleora, where it was like black and white, and it looked all fucking intense and shit. But yeah, I don't know, it's odd.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, Bleach, like, because Jesse Wood made his whole video about Bleach, and he talked about how, like, the first season was so cool because of its style.
Yeah.
And, like, I love the style of Bleach, the manga, but I hated the look of the anime. Like, I thought the color design was god-awful. Like, everything just looks all, like, shitty gradients and stuff. I hate that look. I hate gradients in anime. Like, I'm okay with gradient hair, but, like, I hate when the whole background is just one big gradient.
Just like a cheap way to try to put style in that's unnecessary.
Right. Fucking, that's a big part of what I don't like about, Silver Link's shows. All of them always have, like, excessive use of gradients. Prisma Ilia is a good example. Baka and Test. I don't think you've seen anything by Silver Links. But yeah, they tend to use a lot of, like, gradients, and I hate the look of them. That's my biggest problem with Prisma Ilia's look, because the character designs in that show are fucking perfect. But I don't dig the gradients. What else? Say words.
Words?
Not the word.
I guess I could talk more about Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Because remember I did have a thing to talk about. I was gonna say that when reading Boku no Hero Academia, it feels like something that it's a premise that's very influenced by Western comics, where it's like Western style superheroes, but then it's a manga that's very uniquely Japanese in the fact that it's like this shonen action school, you know, thing going on, where it's like this is, you know, a very typical shonen manga, and it's like if we tried to do that here with anything which we have, we've tried to do superhero high school stuff in the West, and it's always fucking lame. And it just totally sucks.
Like what? What do you mean? Like,
I don't know, any kind of superhero high school. I've seen it around. I never watched anything, but it's like, you know that shit exists.
You've never watched it, but you know it's
either way,
shit.
Like, just, you can imagine us fucking that up. Like, it's something that really works when they do it, but not us. But anyways, I was thinking that the big difference to me and why I don't really like American comics and I do like manga a lot is because in American comics they don't have as much focus on the characters.
But to preface this, because like we were talking about this earlier,
Yeah.
because I was saying how it's interesting that you really loved Tiger and Bunny,
Yeah.
and like you had always said the reason you loved it is because you like superheroes, like conceptually.
Yes.
But you're not into superheroes.
Exactly.
Like you've never been into Western
Because
superhero comics.
I don't
or
like
anything.
Western superhero comics because they're just lame and they take themselves really seriously and the characters aren't very interesting. Whereas you go into Tiger and Bunny and it's like super fun and everyone's fun and the characters are awesome and it's like that's the big difference to me is that like anime and manga usually tends to focus primarily on their characters and character building.
Right.
Whereas you read like comics and they're just like
About plot.
just mindless action and plot and like I don't really give a shit about anyone.
Yeah.
And it's like you hear about character stuff that happens, but it's really sparse and drawn out, and the characters are reset all the time, so they don't have consistent personalities.
Right.
And they're put onto weird teams
I've
that
always
are
found
stupid.
it weird for like because comic plots are usually pretty generic, and they don't matter because they get reset all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I care about the plot?
It's just hard to give a shit about anything.
Yeah. The only Western comics I've gotten really into are like Hellboy and
Yeah, the characters aren't relatable at all. They're always like some tragic backstory. You know, oh, my parents are all dead. Now I'm a superhero.
well, I mean, it
and
really
I'm just
depends on which hero you're talking about.
Kinda shitty.
Because I love Batwoman.
Yeah.
Because Batwoman's story is like, I mean, she does have like a tragic
Really
backstory, but hers is like, it's interesting because it's not like immediate. It's not like this shit happened to her and then she just became a hero kind of thing. It's like her dad is like a military man, and like her and her sister and her mom were like captured as like hostages at some point, and her sister and her mom were killed. Supposedly her sister turns out to still be alive and is an insane person. She's like the first villain, but like they had been killed and she had been spared, so she kind of has like PTSD from that and shit. And like but she joins the military, and she was just like a normal military person, but then she ends up getting let out of the military because they found out she was gay. And it was during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So she gets fired from the military, then spends a while like just basically like drinking and like living like a life of debauchery, like because she just was like done with shit, you know.
Also, I figure now that I've called out Western comics on this, I'm gonna get a bunch of comments about how there are great characters and I'm totally fucking wrong. But it's just like the the little bit I've read where I didn't get any impression.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The shit, like, because
in the movies,
first,
the
let me
same
finish
way
this
and
Batwoman
everything.
story, because what happens is she sees like Batman saving someone, and she's like, you know, like kind of reignites her sense of justice, and she's like, I should be doing something. And then because her dad's like a military guy, he has access to all this like, you know, gear and shit. So then she becomes a superhero. So like, she's a great character. No one talks about Batwoman. I think I've brought this up before on the show, that like the hardest thing about me getting into comics is that the few comics I actually enjoy, no one's reading them. No one's reading Batwoman. No one I know reads Hellboy. I know plenty of people read it online, but like, you know, no one's reading the few comics I actually have taken interest in, and all the ones that everyone else is interested in just seem boring, you know. So yeah, it's hard to get it.
And I've gotten, you know, I've watched all the DC animated stuff is really good, but it's still like the characters are flimsy. Like Justice League Unlimited is really great. The characters are just there. Like the plots are interesting, and that's what really carries it. The characters are, you know, fun at least, but they don't have a lot of depth to them or anything. And like all their movies are pretty good, but you know, the characters don't have a lot of depth, and it's just like they just always come off as shallow to me.
Which is weird, because you'd think the characters are by far the most interesting thing about a superhero story.
Yeah.
Like, is that you're following these characters, and I mean, but it seems like the stuff that's like really celebrated is usually character driven.
Yeah.
Like Swamp Thing in Alan Moore's run, like everyone always considers like one of the greatest character studies or whatever, and Watchmen's pretty character driven.
Yeah, I haven't read Watchmen. Probably read that.
It's pretty.
Not an authority on Western comics. This is just my fucking pleb tier, you know,
is
perception of things. But
Watchmen is very
there we
esoteric. It's really good, but it's got that like whoever drew this was a fucking insane person feeling to it, or whoever wrote this. Because I mean, he is. It's Alan Moore, who worships a snake. But yeah.
Hey man, snakes are cool, man. Don't hate the snake.
It's pretty great though. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Fuck! Stop blocking me on the things over there.
So yeah. So would you recommend Boku no
remember,
Hero
like,
Academia?
Batman's Hush was supposed to be like a big deal, classic thing.
Well, that's because it was one of Brandon Tolentino's favorites, and he loaned it to us.
I was like, I mean, it was good. It'd make a great Batman movie, but like, was it that good?
I made it 2 chapters in. And I did, but
you
the
read
thing
all
is,
of it?
the thing is, Tolentino's taste is always like there's always a really specific reason it's his
I thought
favorite.
Hush was like the most famous one.
I don't know about
like,
that. It's
one of the most popular.
It's pretty
Batman.
recent, I think. I don't think it's that old.
I don't know.
There's always a very specific reason Tolentino likes something. It's always like this one scene where this character died or something like made it the greatest ever.
Of course.
Like with Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, where like even though those movies are terrible, he liked them just because of the fact that he knew Spider-Man's girlfriend was gonna die.
Yes.
And that's his favorite thing about the comics. And so, like, he was just waiting for that to happen and enjoyed the movies solely based on that. So, yeah, he has a interesting taste.
Interesting.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Anyway, would you recommend Boku
Yes.
no Hero Academia?
I would.
Do you
'cause
think
it's
I
fun.
would like it?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know why you wouldn't like it.
I don't know.
I like the art style.
I don't really
It's
like
cool.
the art that much.
See, I didn't think I
except
was
for
gonna
the
like it,
girls.
and then I started reading it, and I was like, oh, this is great.
The girls are pretty cute. I like the frog girl.
Yeah, it's very stylish. There's not a lot of background detail, but it's like,
When
you know,
does the
who
frog
cares?
girl show up?
I don't know, she's just been kind of around, but they haven't like given her a name or anything yet.
I want her to be real. I really liked Soul Eater.
It feels kind of like Soul Eater, artistic, like art style wise to me. Then I only ever watched the anime, so I don't even know.
Soul Eater, the manga, the thing about Soul Eater is that like the anime adaptation did like the art style and everything perfectly, like better than the manga could have, because it was like the perfect style. It was really like awesomely animated fights, and the manga, like the best part of the manga is the cool fights that come later. But like the problem is the anime stops right before all the best fights in the manga. Like they were starting off this arc called Arachnophobia, and like all the main characters get these huge, epic, fucking awesome fights, but the anime was already wrapping up right before it got to those fights. So the anime just came up with its own original ending for the last 10 episodes that's like total bullshit and just rushes through it as fast as possible because the show is ending. So everyone hates the ending of the anime, and the manga continues and goes right into its best arc right afterwards. But then the manga kind of becomes boring and turns to shit like right after that. So like the best arc of the manga never made it to anime, but the rest of the manga isn't really necessarily like worth going back and doing the whole show over, like Fullmetal Alchemist type thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, we got what we got. And then there's Soul Eater Not, which is not any good.
Ha
Um,
ha. Yeah.
yeah.
Sucks.
It's unfortunate because like I actually read the first chapter of Soul Eater Not right when it came out, and I remember being like, why do this? Like I felt like maybe because Soul Eater Not started right at the time when Soul Eater was turning to shit, so it was like maybe he's bored of writing Soul Eater and this is like the thing he's more interested in. But it was just basically like any like sort of moe-ish like girls in school show, but like but not that good of one. So it was like, why bother?
So it is the same writer and everything?
Yeah, it's the same artist. He's writing it on the side while doing Soul Eater.
I see.
And like each of them, I think each one was monthly.
It's like his own fan fiction of his series.
Yeah, it's odd. And so he was doing it at the same time, and neither one of them was really all that good at the time. And then Bones adapted Soul Eater Not, but it just didn't look right at all because they didn't use the same style.
Yeah.
And it was like, this looks awful and feels awful, and no. And it also had one of the most amazingly bad action sequences ever animated that people make fun of fucking constantly. It's like one character with a sword and one character with a spear, and they're both like practically stick figures, and they're just like moving their things up and down like at each other. If I showed it to you, you would lose your shit. It is amazingly bad. Everyone go onto Google and type like Soul Eater Not like derp or like bad animation or quality. Type Soul Eater Not quality, and you'll find
Soul
this.
Eater Not
They
quality.
updated it on the Blu-ray to look less shit.
Yeah.
But it's, oh my god, it's bad. It's fucking amazingly bad.
Wonderful.
All right. Next time on Digi Bros,
Hey.
we'll talk about another thing.
I bet we will.